You know, in the high-stakes world of competitive gaming, picking the right tool for the job, well, it's everything. But what if the most obvious choice, the one everybody tells you to make, is actually the worst one? So today, we're going to dig into that idea, using the world of Elder Scrolls Online to see how it plays out.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a claim that sounds, well, completely backwards. The Templar, the class that's basically designed from the ground up to heal, is supposedly the worst at its job in competitive PvP. How is that even possible?
Right. And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Is the class that's literally made for a specific role always the right answer, or does the messy reality of the game tell a totally different story? Before we can really get why the perfect healer might actually fail, you gotta understand the world they're operating in. For a healer in PvP, the battlefield isn't some neat little chessboard. No, it's pure, unpredictable chaos. Yeah, see, this isn't like fighting some predictable AI mob that just stands there. You're up against other people who are just as smart and tricky as you are. Constant movement, or what players call kiting, isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely essential if you want to stay alive.
So, in this total chaos, which class looks like it was born for the job of healing? Well, on paper, the answer seems pretty obvious. It's gotta be the Templar. And you can totally see why everyone goes for this class, right? It's got an entire skill tree literally called Restoring Light. It's packed with all kinds of healing spells. For any new player, the game is basically shouting, "Hey, pick me, I'm the healer."
All right, but this is where it all starts to fall apart. The very things that make the Templar look so perfect in theory actually become its biggest weakness when you throw it into the brutal reality of PvP.
And here it is, the big mismatch. The Templar's abilities are designed for you to plant your feet and heal from one spot. But in PvP, nobody stands still. Everyone is dodging, weaving, and running for their lives. So you end up being a stationary turret in the middle of a high-speed track meet. It just doesn't work.
And it really boils down to this. A healer's #1 job isn't even healing other people, it's staying alive. Because, let's be real, if you're dead, you're not healing anybody. And in PvP, standing still is basically a death sentence.
The source material we're looking at just hits the nail on the head here. The entire design of the Templar healer is built on a bad assumption, that people will be standing still. And in the fast-paced world of PvP, that is the worst assumption you can possibly make.
Okay, so if the obvious healer is a trap, then what's the answer? Well, let's look at a class that most people would never even consider for this role. A class known for fire and fury, the Dragon Knight.
Believe it or not, it all comes down to this one ability, Cinderstorm. It heals, sure, but it also gives you incredible control. That 70% slow, or snare, is huge. It lets you slow down enemies chasing your friends or lock them in place for an easy kill. It's healing and battlefield control, all in one neat little package.
But wait, it gets even better. Cinderstorm is the heart of this amazing resource-generating machine. Just look at this loop. You cast it to heal and snare people. Then, as you're blocking and moving around, recasting it actually gives you stamina back. And then, this is the best part, when you use your ultimate, a passive called Battle Roar instantly refills all of your resources. You're basically turning defense into fuel, letting you outlast pretty much any other healer out there.
So what we're seeing here is that the Dragon Knight works because its tools fit the job, right? And that points to a much bigger idea about healing. Being good at it isn't just about picking the right class. It's about actually understanding the math behind how your abilities work.
When you really look at it, healing kind of breaks down into two main types. You've got your heals over time, or HOTS, which are these nice, cheap spells that keep everyone's health ticking up. And then you have your big, expensive burst heals for those oh no moments when someone's about to die. You need both to be effective.
Okay, so what's the best stat to stack? Well, the data from our source shows it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want those HOTS to be stronger and more consistent, you go for Healing Done. But if you want to create those massive, life-saving burst heals, then Critical Chance is where it's at.
Let's actually look at the numbers, because this is where it gets interesting. If you build for Healing Done, your big burst heal might hit for around 9,400. And that's pretty good. It's solid, it's reliable, it'll definitely save a life.
But check this out. A build that goes all in on Critical Chance? A critical heal can hit for over 13,000 health. That is a huge difference. We're talking about the kind of heal that single-handedly turns a losing fight into a win. The math is clear. You should build for the kind of impact you want to have. All right, so let's tie all of this together. What's the big takeaway here? It's really about thinking beyond the simple labels that the game tries to give you.
So what's the playbook for a real PvP healer look like? First, mobility is everything. Second, you need to bring utility that controls the fight, like slows. Third, you've got to understand the math behind your stats. And finally, the best class isn't the one with the healer label. It's the one with the right tools to handle the absolute chaos of the battlefield.
And this whole idea, it's bigger than just one game, isn't it? This idea that the designed solution isn't always the most effective one. It really makes you stop and think about the other systems around us and ask a really important question. What's an obvious choice in my own world that maybe deserves a second look?